Welcome back to the Aviator Show. I'm Reese Dockhand, and behind me is one of the most legendary companies in paramotoring today, Parajet. We're here to see Tom and take you on a tour of their factory. Join me. Oh, what a familiar face. What up, man?
You all right? Come on in. Welcome. So this is HQ.
So right off the bat, you walk in, there's paramotors prevalent, there's amazing motorcycle shops. Where are we?
Yeah, so guys, welcome. You are now at Parajet HQ. So this is our foyer, this is our entrance to the headquarters. So here's a little bit of history. It's kind of the story of Parajet, really. So for some people who've known about our brand for a while, this is the infamous Everest machine. This is kind of really a milestone in Parajet's history. When Gilo first kind of got into paramotoring, he essentially saw a guy paramotoring, chased after him, found out what it was, ended up getting one, ended up importing a brand called DK Whisper, which is a Japanese brand at the time. Then he started making his own paramotors, and his own paramotors started with our compact paramotor over here. This was Gilo's first paramotor. Then the Macro, which is the bigger version. And then over a dinner party, one day he was with a friend of his called Bear Grylls, who's a TV personality. You guys may have heard of Bear. And Bear was saying, Gilo, what ideas have you got? What do you want to do? And Gilo said, well, I've got this amazing idea. It'd be great to fly paramotors over Everest. And Bear was like, right, let's do it. And Gilo said, whoa, no engine exists in a paramotor that can get you that high. And Bear basically said, well, can you make one? And he said, yeah, I could make one, but I need, a lot of money. And Bear said, great, you tell me how much and I'll go and find someone to pay for it. And anyway, so the rest is history. This is the Everest machine. This is what they did it on. There were two made. This is Gilo's one and Bear has his. Gilo loved rotary technology. So he basically took the idea of, took the concept of rotary and made this sort of turbocharged rotary machine. Incredibly powerful, very big and heavy. So they had to train very, very hard to use it, but they took off and they flew over Everest. Yeah, unfortunately, Gilo ended up having an issue with his machine. I think something in the fuel line froze or something like that. But Bear went incredibly high, so much so that you could see the sky getting dark above him. But regrettably, it was never recorded officially because the instruments froze. And according to the rules, if the instruments freeze, it doesn't count. That whole televised program went out on Discovery Channel. And it was at that point when Parajet was kind of propelled into the next lane because so many people saw it, particularly the USA. So it gave us a real kind of an awareness in the USA. That was really kind of the starting point of us being in the USA. And then it's amazing that Parajet is kind of the seed that the rest of the garden follows. So after doing this televised program with Rotary, Gilo was inundated with inquiries from all sorts of different people, military, all kind of different things about, I love this engine, could you do this, could you do that? And that's where Rotron, which is our rotary engine company, was born. And now they provide engines and technology for all sorts of different stuff. And then it's evolved and evolved and evolved. Obviously then we did a rotary paramotor. You can see the first one over there. It's Gilo's little 160 rotary paramotor. Then we did a 294. And then of course things have progressed, and then it was the Zenith, and then the Evolution 3, and then the Maverick, which is where we are now. So it's quite interesting that Parajet was the starting point, and then all these different companies of the group have then followed. But yeah, so this is a real kind of testament to our history and our heritage and stuff. So yeah, that was almost 20 years ago, so probably in his 20s. He won several awards for that, but it's a significant bit of technology at the time. Absolute beast, seriously powerful. I believe you can still see parts of that televised program on YouTube, little snippets and stuff. It's called Mission Everest, so if you can find any of it, go and check it out because it is hugely interesting and tells a really good story about kind of what they went through to get ready to be able to do that kind of flight.
That is insane. That looks mega powerful as it would need to be.
Pretty heavy though. yeah. By today's standards, pretty heavy. So come on up. We call this the Stairway to Heaven, and now you are in Parajet HQ. This is where it all happens, guys. This is Reese.
Hi, Dave.
Reese,
Hi,
this
Reese.
is David, our marketing manager.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Simon, Reese.
Oh, Simon,
Reese,
very much
Simon.
about you. Anthony Shaw's giving me the rundown.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. We know Anthony well. Basically, this is HQ, this is where it all happens. The office is split into 2 zones, so this is sales and marketing and customer service. So this is very much my world and our world. And the team here, David is our marketing manager, Sai is our sales assistant. So we are basically taking care of all different customer inquiries around the world, warranties, sales, you name it, we're doing it here. And obviously coming up with all the next ideas on how to market our products and get people interested in paramotoring. And then on the other side here, you have the design department, Sam, Jack and Ben. Jack's hidden over there, squirreling away, doing all sorts of stuff. And these guys are designing anything from a complete paramotor to accessories to parts, all sorts of little things that we've got planned. But they are, and also supporting web development, renders, pictures, all that kind of thing. So for things like user manuals or images for the website or things that we use for marketing, these guys help us with that as well. So you can see that he's working on fuel tank renders and that kind of thing at the moment. So everything we do, we'll design it in CAD, we'll look at it from all sorts of different aspects, and then that will go through to development, prototypes, and then it kind of goes through a continuous order like that. So it's, I have no idea how they do this on a computer, but I find it very, very interesting. Da, 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 da. Cool. So this is the hub of operations for Parajet. So whether your paramotor goes to the US, whether it goes to Australia, Timbuktu, we've actually got a dealer in Mongolia, if you believe it. Everything we do at some point in time is going to be in this building. It takes a lot of effort, particularly at really, really busy times. I think in 2021, we dispatched over 100 paramotors in a month. The only way you can do that is if you have all the parts here. If you have 99% of the parts or you're just missing one widget, it's not a paramotor, you can't dispatch it. So the team, both the purchasing team, the operations team and the production staff work very hard to kind of plan for that, to make sure that we've got supply of parts from hundreds of different places around the world, and they all need to be here at the right time so that the paramotor can be made in an efficient time frame and then dispatched. It sounds easy. People think, paramotoring is easy. You just bolt an engine on and off you go. In principle, yes, but actually there's a lot more thought process that goes into it. And obviously the more your volume goes up, the more complicated that problem becomes. So it is a never-ending work. It's work that never ends. You're always working on it, always trying to make sure we're doing it. But our goal has always been to try and reduce lead times as much as possible. At times we'll keep stock of paramotors so that they're ready to go next day. It's a continuous improvement. We're always looking at ways we can do it better, do it faster, do it more efficiently. And ultimately, for customers, when they decide they want to buy a paramotor, they don't really want to wait, and why should they?
Now I know this is a paramotor channel and everyone's excited to probably talk about these two right here. You might have seen something like that on the internet, but what I care about, whoa!
Yeah,
what
jet boards.
The heck?
So this is Mako Board Sports, so this is our jet board company. So we'll go downstairs and have a closer look at that. Do you want to go and have a look at that now?
Yes, I want to check that thing out, and it's sister and brother over there, Mako jet boards.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to be electric, but petrol.
No. We are full 100% petrol heads in this building. We like the idea of electric, but we love burning fuel. Absolutely. Actually, in all seriousness, one of the main reasons for that is Gilo, who's our founder and our owner. Gilo really believes, paramotors and jet boards, all these kind of toys, they're part of an adventure, So people who are learning to paramotor or people who are getting into paramotoring, awesome, cool, but that is like the doorway to the next adventure. So when you pack up your paramotor and you put it on a plane and you go to somewhere like Brazil, take it all out, put it back together and go and fly over a beach or a sand dune or around the Christ the Redeemer in Rio or something. These are just incredible memories and incredible experiences, but the paramotor is the kind of device that allows you to do that. But air travel with batteries is quite difficult. So that's why Gilo is a big believer in kind of petrol engines, because you can, as long as you prepare them properly, it's very easy to be able to transport and take your equipment on an airplane with you. So this is Mako. So we share our building, as you can see. So you might be thinking, why is a jet board in a paramotor building? So we have a lot of facilities and several companies in the group, And in order to be efficient, we share facilities and we share resources. So this is Mako's little production area. You saw the motorbike, which is another one which we'll have a look at later. And then, of course, the main, largest part of the factory is for Parajet. Yeah. So, right, this is what you're interested in, isn't it, Reese? Right, so carbon-bodied surfboard, okay, 110cc two-stroke engine with an impeller that goes out the back. This baby will put someone my size, which is like 100 kilos or just over. I can probably do like 30 miles per hour on top of the water on this thing flat out. They are an awful lot of fun. So this one, because it's on the table, you can't see, but they have a large kind of like fin at the bottom and another 2 fins at the side. So you can really cut into the water and you can really carve. So when you're going flat out on this one, you can be fully leant out, touching the water, carving around the corner. It's a bit like on a motorbike if you put your knee down. I mean, paramotorists are big motorbike fans typically, or a lot of us are, like dirt bikes. I think in the States you guys call paramotors the dirt bikes of the sky. So it's not uncommon for paramotorists to like water sports, to like motorbikes, and like everything. If you've got a van with all these things in the back of it, doesn't matter if when the wind's good, you go flying. When it's not, you go surfing or you go motorbiking. So yeah, why limit yourself to one toy?
How many do you have of these?
I don't have one of these because I have 2 children and a mortgage. Family comes first, but luckily because I'm part of the work group and because I work here, I get to use them on a regular basis.
Yeah, forget the rest of the tour. Let's just find a way to take this.
And look, like I said, we were talking about air travel. So look, there is a board in a bag. Okay, so put that on a plane.
Done and done.
Go and have fun. Come on round to the kind of the nerve center of the operations team. So these guys are producing paramotors for customers all around the world. So I think we've got more of a service and repair day today, isn't it, Dan? Yeah, so we do scheduled works. So earlier in the week we had quite a lot of machines going out the door, but also particularly in the UK. So obviously if you guys in the US, you have an extended dealer network and they'll typically support the customers with their repairs and servicing and stuff. But here in the UK, we try to focus on servicing people's equipment, making sure it's all running good. So it's another part of what we offer our customers. Actually, in fact, some customers from other places in the world, even particularly Europe, which isn't too far away, will actually send their equipment back here so it can be done by Parajet. But obviously, I think the UK guys really benefit most because they can just drop it in. As I said, whether it's going to Australia or the States or whatever, it all comes through here. It's Dan, our production manager, Chris, who works with Dan, and then some of the other team who are now, at this time of day, have left the building because we're getting to the end of the day. But yeah, you start to get an idea of kind of this can be incredibly full of things or it can be empty of things, and it keeps on flowing and flowing and flowing. So I mentioned the test cell, because we were talking about service and repair. One of the things we do, okay, come on in. You love the boards, so we'll have a look at this first. So we have a dual test center. So paramotoring that side and jet boards this side. Here is a thrust rig for the jet boards. Okay, so the boards go in the water and they go against there, and then you can test it pushing against the thrust rig, and it tests the amount of force that the engine is producing in the water tank. And then on the other side, we have the test rig for the paramotors. So this one will interest you. So because we're on an estate with other businesses around us, we try to be as quiet as possible. So hopefully the mic will pick this up, Reese. So I'm just going to go into here, and you can start hearing. Nothing. I can't. It's really gone, yeah. Oh my God. And I keep going, and then I come back, and then suddenly I'm back in the room again. What? So that's quite cool. So this is where when we run the engines and stuff, this is what we do, and then we design this ourselves to limit the amount of noise exposure for our neighbours. So always trying to be considerate, paramotorists, we're dirty two-strokers, but we try to be considerate for people around us.
Can you just do that to the rest of the world so that we could just fly and not...
Yeah, well, it would be nice, wouldn't it, dude, if you had something like this on the back. What we need to do is provide people with headphones with this in it so that we can fly and they don't have to worry about it. We literally custom built this rig. So this is a thrust rig. Obviously, once it's all up and running, you shut the door for safety. You've got the window here so you can see everything, and then a full computer system where you can actually digitally control the thrust levels, you can control the throttle, you can start the engine, you can see all the different parameters of the engine performance on the screen, engine temperature, thrust level, air, all the good stuff. And then obviously then make adjustments and then run it. So We do quite a lot of work in here. Fundamentally, we have a lot of customers around the world, and we always want to make sure that if they need us, we can help them. Right, so this is the stores area. So what's interesting about manufacturing, everything survives on the next stage. So if we as a team upstairs don't do an efficient job of forecasting the orders, projecting the things that we want, paying for them, doing all the kind of the businessy stuff, the guys in the stores and the production line, they can't get it done. So it's every part of the business relies on the others to be efficient, to be really on point, to really be paying attention. And of course, this is continuously replenished. As you see, we've got engines over here, harness arms. This is something you'll recognize, Reese. So harness arms in raw, so those ones are ready to be sent for coloring when they need. Bolts, widgets, harness arms. Our standard color is blue, and then we offer what we call our custom colors. And those are a set of, so we have red, orange, light blue, green, and black. And then we have nets and fuel connectors. And so you can just sort of kind of get an insight into how many little bits, all of these things exist, all these little bolts, all these little washers, they all exist because we need them to be able to make a paramotor. But you can see how many buckets there are on the shelves. Right. Every single one of these will do something and will have something that we need in order to get a paramotor out the door. See, we've got some fuel tanks in there, got harnesses there. You see we've got nets on the shelf here. All these are travel bags for the paramotors. So you can start to see that it requires quite a lot of focus to, we have quite a technical system that literally every single item, whether it's tiny or big, has an individual part number on the system. So when we talk about producing a works order, that will literally list everything down to a little washer. To be honest, buddy, it is, as I said to you before, literally, we will never get to a point when we're happy because it's so challenging. You've literally continuously got to keep on looking at things. We've got a big space here, so we're lucky that we can fill it with a lot of stock. It still requires a huge amount of time. You need to have the cash available. You need to have the people focusing on it, getting it done. It is a team effort. There's no one individual person. Literally every single person, whether it's in the accounts department in one of our other offices we'll have a look at in a moment, whether it's upstairs or downstairs, at some point in time, every single order will be touched by someone in the building in some way. We work very hard, and we also try to play hard too and have fun. Do you want to come and get in?
Oh, heck yeah.
And I'll film you.
So it's a stick shift or what?
Yeah, no, it's paddle.
Paddle shift?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, gosh. Does it fly?
Yes, it does.
Come on.
So it basically works very much in the same way a trike does. You have a wing. So basically, we've designed this specially. So this has got a rotary engine, which we produce, so it's super light and very powerful. So when you're on the road, the transmission powers the wheels. And then when you want to take off, you stop, you get the wing out, you connect everything up, you flick the transmission onto the propeller, and then you drive, take off, and then you control the wing in the same way that you would.
Wow. Who's your boss again? Is he Batman?
It is very Batman, isn't it?
Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, but it works really well, dude. It's awesome. Unfortunately, these aren't available for sale. We do get quite a few people who ask us about it, mostly because the world isn't quite ready yet for flying cars. So unfortunately, it's a process of going through regulations, understanding things, coming up with also tuition, sort of syllabus. How do you learn to fly something like this? So
next week on the Aviator Show, we teach you how to drive a flying car.
Yeah, our hope is one day, buddy, that will be a reality because this works. We've flown it, we've tested it. They all work brilliantly.
The world wants to know why we don't have flying cars yet, like the Jetsons. It's because the red tape of the government.
Yes, basically, dude. But it's Gilo's dream that at some point in time, more and more people will be able to own a product like this. It's not happening tomorrow, but our hope is that in the future it will happen. Yeah.
So the Parajet product, I don't know that I've seen this one much in the States, all that much.
Yeah, so actually, because these are all sort of mostly custom machines. So this is our Volution model. So this is the Volution 3. So when Gilo started, when I came into the industry, It was all about strength and durability, and this machine is the last iteration. So we had the Volution 1, which I think you saw the compact, then we had the larger one, the macro, then we had the Volution 2, and then this was the Volution 3. It's basically the Humvee of paramotors. It's crazy strong. The netting system is ridiculously strong. So from a safety standpoint and a durability standpoint, it's literally, I suspect, probably unbeatable. But the market's changed, right? Everyone wants it light now. So sadly, we don't produce that many of these anymore, but we do still have a few customers around the world who absolutely won't fly anything else. They just love them. Particularly for tandem, for example. So one of our customers, one of our dealers, absolutely insists on flying this machine tandem. And the reason he says that is that because of the confidence that it provides the passenger. He says that when they come up and they see this, and they touch it and they feel it, and they're about to go in the sky for the first time, the confidence that the machine and its kind of strength and all that kind of stuff gives them a real peace of mind. So he says it just makes life for him much easier. But for sure, as I said, in comparison to this, this with a Moster in it versus a Maverick with a Moster in it, probably looking at like 8 or 9 kilos difference now, which in today's world is massive. But it is still an exceptionally good looking machine. It's a really nice thing. It's a 4-piece cage, so it comes apart, so you have the chassis and then 4 cage sections. It's very unique looking. Again, everything Parajet, we love the idea that if you see it from afar, you can instantly identify it as us. People talk about fuel tanks, Reese. So, we get a lot of compliments on fuel tanks, but I don't know many others who do their own style of fuel tanks. A lot of them will use common sort of, standard size fuel tanks and stuff like that. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's really difficult to do and it's quite expensive. It's also a way of really creating individuality and also made for purpose as well. You'll notice that whether it's a Volution, a Zenith, or a Maverick, or even a Mav Max, all of them have got their own individual fuel tanks. It's part of the identity of the machine. It's part of what you pay for when you buy a Parajet. It's the work and the thought that's gone into that. We could have just bolted something on, but we don't want to do that. We hate the idea of doing that. What we want to do is create something that's unique, interesting, exciting, looks cool, and also instantly identifiable as us. So
I would say I got my training on this here unit. I looked around at all the paramotors and they all looked the same. So as soon as I got my Maverick, I went ahead and brought it to the powder coating machine to give it its own identifications, to stand apart. It's not just a tool to get in the air. You build a connection with these things, you trust it, it's got your life in your hands.
So, all of those things are true, but as you say, when you talk about the customization, there's a reason we offer a customization service for people, is that we recognize we put a lot of effort into making the machines look cool just in a standard spec. We'd hate the idea if anyone thought they looked ugly, but equally we recognize that, it's what we call a considered purchase, right? It's a toy. It's for lots of people, it's an investment. It's a special investment. So to be able to kind of have it your way, the way that you want it. I mean, look, if we take a quick look over here, you can see, look, this customer has requested a black powder coated Maverick. So the chassis is completely black, powder coated with the orange arms and orange netting. So when this thing's together, it's really going to pop. It's part of what we do, and it's nice that whilst it causes us a great, so look, this is the headache that we have, Reese. So look at all the different colors of netting we have. Orange, blue, red, green, and black. All of those are nets, or they're the hoops for nets, and all of these now have to go through a process of being strung. Customization's brilliant, but it causes us a headache. But we do it because we love it, and also we just love that idea that people can have that kind of personal connection with their machine, that it means something, it's special, that whether you love KTM orange or if you love, Eric always used to love Fire Station red, so all that kind of stuff, we absolutely adore it. So we talked about the Volutions, so that was that series, and then here we have the Zenith. The Maverick and the Mav Max are by far the most popular models now. Titanium, lightweight, it's very much what the market demands. But this machine, again, is a legacy to our history and part of our DNA, part of what makes Parajet. When we released this, at the time, no one had ever done it this way. So it was really a fundamental step change in paramotoring. A lot of people have taken ideas and concepts from this machine ever since. But for me, despite the weight, I still think it's the best booking paramotor out there. It just looks rad. It just looks great. And because you can anodize it and customize it, and as I said, when you travel, this machine's just unreal. This machine goes down into 2 little bags, 2 23-kilo bags. You can always ensure that you can kind of conform to any airline. This guy's gone for a pretty sweet setup. He's got a fat jar with the green to match the rest, yeah. So I think this guy's going to be pretty sweet on this one. It sounds a bit silly to say it, but you know, the designs and the machines kind of really are a reflection of kind of who we are as a company and what we try to do. You know, this machine was out there at the time. No one ever did it that way. And they did it because it was complex, it was expensive, but at the time, it just completely broke boundaries. Of course, now this kind of modular design is far more commonplace, but it's still, in many markets, extremely popular.
So I think you come into like design phases for what, like to fix a problem, right? So that would be his first version. And then what problem did this one fix?
Well, I think problem's probably the wrong word. So I think it's, if you think about today's world, so when we when we entered in the foyer, you saw the evolution. So when we started, we had one machine, big cage or small cage, but one size of engine, and that was it. So whether you were my size, your size, or someone else, yeah, or even 70 kilos or 50 kilos or whatever, we all flew the same thing, because that's what we had. 172cc engine, rig, that was it. It's not that these different designs solve problems, more that they expand the possibilities of what a paramotor is for. So we have a customer who's a bodybuilder. He just loves the look of the V3 because it worked for him. It was strong, it was easy to take apart. This one, you know, at the time, we're big adventurous. We love to travel. Jyla loves the idea of travel. We talked about it earlier. Things you can put on planes, a paramotor that you can then go on an adventure with. And so this modular design was sort of in mind of being able to have a paramotor that you could completely take apart, put into bags that conform with airline regulations, carry them easily and take them somewhere. And then also from an ownership point of view and service point of view, all modular parts, all the same. So if you fall over and break something, just take it out, plug another one in. This machine is actually sent to customers with 2 spare spars, 2 other rings, so customers already have spare parts.
And if you're going to a place like that's out in maybe Africa or something that's impossible to get parts, that is pretty important to have, that you can modularly put whatever you need.
I mean, a lot of the designs, so even the Maverick is still modular, so we've built it in such a way, but this one just goes down. So if you travel a lot on airliners, if you have a really small house or confined, if you're not blessed to have like a garage or a toy zone, or even if you've got a really small vehicle, for example. So we've actually got a customer who's got a BMW motorcycle and he's got a Zenith, and he transports the Zenith in, he's got 2 side boxes with all the cage parts, and then he puts the engine thing on a rack on the back of the bike. But because it can pack down like that, it allows him to do that. And again, we talked about the fuel tank, unique to us, completely removable. So the other idea of the Zenith, because it's like an adventure machine, is that you could fly it somewhere, run out of fuel, land, take the fuel tank out. You haven't got to carry the paramotor. You can just walk with the fuel tank, go to a petrol station, fill it up, plug it back in and take off again. And the other reason a removable fuel tank's great is that it's for transportation. So even if you've got a van and you can put your paramotor in the back, safety, if it falls over or whatever. So actually being able to remove the fuel tank, easier to drain it, easier to empty it, easier to store it, it's a lot safer. So there's a lot of benefits. So that was the Zenith. And then of course, the Maverick, which you'll know very well by now, you've got one. When we designed this, we were kind of late to the party, if I'm honest. Air Conception had been really doing incredibly well, and they were kind of the lightweight, manufacturer of that era. And when we designed this machine, we went through a lot of iterations, because at the beginning we wanted it to be the lightest. It was all about being the lightest, and we did it, and we made it, but we just weren't happy with it. We sort of had one of those kind of eureka moments where we kind of knocked heads together and said, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And we kind of said, well, what are we looking for? What do we want to do? We want a lightweight machine that's light, but it doesn't have to be the lightest. We want it to be strong, but it doesn't have to be the strongest. We want it to be able to have a decent decent size of engine, but it doesn't need to be the biggest. When you look at the Maverick, we nickname it the consummate all-rounder. And what that means is that basically it's the kind of perfect balance of everything. So it is strong, it is light, it is easy to take apart, you can transport it easily, it does have a storage bag. It isn't on the extreme of anything. So it isn't, if you go to the extreme of light, it comes at potentially a compromise of strength or rigidity or durability. If you push for it to be the strongest, then that may be a compromise on making it heavier. If you want to have 20 different engines, then that has a compromise too of things that you have to do in the design. So the way we look at it is it richly, we feel a Maverick is perfect for 85–90% of pilots. And then of course for the other ones who just need that something extra, we've got other things like the Mav Max and some of the other models too. A lot of thought process went into it, the additional parts here for strength in the frame. You'll notice that a Maverick's really angular. It was done on purpose, again, for butt landings. The frame is incredibly strong. So, you guys have used these in the school, Reese, that they'll take a good whack. There's a lot of, for people who don't necessarily understand design, it doesn't just happen, guys. Someone dreams it up, but a lot of thought goes into it. A lot of kind of your personality, our personality goes into it. And then, of course, one of the biggest challenges of the Maverick was how do you make something so simple look good? And of course, we have our netting hoop. Now, for people who don't understand how complex the netting systems are, so we came up with this idea of the hoop that went over. And the reason we liked that is that it was really strong. It brought the whole machine together. It offered a lot of rigidity. But the other reason we loved it is because it's completely smooth. So none of these little joints where your lines can snag on takeoff, just completely smooth, lines come up, increases the chance of having a successful takeoff more often. The material is very, very difficult to paint. So it took us a long time to find somebody who could do it. People talk about the netting systems, and to give them some insight into the amount of work that we personally put into them. It isn't just something that comes out ready to go. We literally bring in the raw material, we cut it, we route it, we drill every single one of them here raw. At that point in time, they're then packaged up, labeled, they're sent to the painting company. They will put them in the oven and they will cook them raw for two runs to absorb all the oil out of the material so that they can be painted. They then prime them twice, and then they then paint them twice. So it's sort of six operations just with the paint company alone. And then they come back and then...
They look as beautiful as this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see the sparkle in this right here, but this looks like damn near a bass boat, which it's got depth.
But it's an expensive process, and it does make the netting a bit more expensive.
Yes.
But again, it's important for people to recognize there's a reason for that. Rather like a car company, if you want a specific finish, it takes a lot of work. And as I said, so you've got the preparation of the material, you've got a company that does that level of painting, and then once they come back, we actually physically sew the nets together, fit them and do them. So if you think about the amount of man hours that goes into just one net, it's quite significant. The highest proportion of that cost is the paint. A flexible paint that can bend. We think it's worth it because it's identifiable. It really finishes off the machine brilliantly. But for people who are out there, and because quite a lot of people aren't aware of this, we do raw nets without any paint, and they're like 50% of the cost of a painted one.
And then you can go out there and try this process yourself back at home.
Yeah, but no, I think for a lot of people, when they understand the amount of work, I've taken people through this process. When they come and they say, oh my God, I never would have known that you do that. But again, we're crazy. Why do we do it? It's a bit like the fuel tanks. Why do we go to all this time? Why do we go to all this effort? Because it's unique to us. It's identifiable as a Parajet. It makes the machine look fantastic. For the customer, we hope that it's a better product. Right, so do you want to go and look at the CNC shop while it's still... Oh my God, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it? Oh, we've got to go through the rain. Oh God. Right, let's run.
Look, a lorry. Look, another lorry. This place is full of lorries.
Lorries. Right, come on in. We are now in our CNC workshop. These are robotic machines that mill pieces of aluminium and other materials and ultimately create parts for engines, for harness arms, for paramotors, all kinds of different things. Last time I checked, here you go. Cool, so they're running harness arm operations. Okay, so this goes in as a piece of billet, okay, like that. It goes into a special holder here on, and you have a vacuum bed which sucks the material down, holds it really tight, and then you get 2 harness arms per sheet. So it goes in like that, and the machine will cut out the material, and it'll do one side, which is what we call operation 1, and then once they've done all the arms, it'll do operation 2, which is the other side, and then obviously finishes it off. Each operation is about 45 minutes, and we can do 4 arms at a time. So you start to get an idea of the amount of work that just goes into producing that. But why do we do it that way? Well, look at it. It's beautiful, right? That's aircraft grade aluminium. It's light, it's strong, it looks great, and most importantly, from a quality perspective, we've got full traceability. So to give you some insight, we can actually physically trace every single part of the paramotor. So a harness arm that's used on a Maverick tomorrow, okay, if there was ever a problem with the material or something, some fault was found, we would be able to go back, trace the batch that was made in, and notify every single customer that has an arm that's made in that batch, and then replace them for them. And again, so that kind of traceability is hugely important because we value safety.
So each paramotor has a serial number that we can contact you guys about?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, no, so we can do full traceability. We can tell you which batch.
Where's the serial number located?
So you have the serial number on the frame. You should have a sticker on the frame which gives you the serial number, and then of course you've got the serial number for the engine as well. So if your serial number for the sticker came off, as long as you've still got the same engine on the frame, if you give us the serial number of the engine, we'd be able to connect that to the frame, and then we'd be able to trace it back that way.
When I buy a Parajet, does it come with the motor, or did Aviator put the motor on?
No, it comes complete. Comes complete, yeah. So we produce complete paramotors, and we send them, so they go through a rigorous check process. We do provide some frames to customers without the engine, so we have a frame kit. We prefer to do it ourselves mostly because we want to be able to do it properly. We want to be able to ensure that, it's
spoken like a real British guy.
Well, no, but we want to do it properly. But no, what we mean by that is
it makes sense.
We take responsibility for what we build. Okay, if we put our name to it, we're happy to be held to account on that. If something goes wrong with it, if there's a warranty problem of any kind, because we know that we've done it. We're not perfect, of course, but we try to be, and we try to do these kind of processes which encourage it to be easy, to be efficient, to be controlled, to be able to understand when things are going right, when things are going wrong. But there's accountability, and that's a really big word in our industry. And paramotoring, because it's a sort of deregistered sport, or a non-regulated sport, should we say, it means that anyone could build a paramotor. And if something goes wrong with it, who's to blame? It's not about who's to blame, but who's going to stand up and take responsibility for it. And as a result, that's why, as a manufacturer with a conscience, we want to make sure that we provide a really safe product for people. But we also want to make sure that we have the systems and support structure in place that allow us to provide support to people, to allow us to notify, send a safety advisory. For example, we have quite an in-depth CRM system with all the different customer details of every machine. So when you order a machine, we receive the customer details. Those customer details are logged to that machine. So if there's ever an issue with any of those machines of that batch, we can identify those customers, and we can send them all an email and a document notifying them of the problem instantly. We just think that that's a hugely important part of what we do.
Massive important thing.
Yeah, hopefully it's things like this that give people a window to understand kind of what goes into making a paramotor, because a lot of people, quite understandably, don't have the insight because they might not have the experience, or they might not understand. So hopefully it gives them a stronger bond to our brand. If they really get our values and our ethos, then hopefully they'll be a Parajet customer, part of the extended family. And if you're not, the most important thing is that you fly and have fun. We're not precious about that, but we really love it when customers get us and when they dig what we do, because there's a lot of people put a huge amount of effort and passion into it, and when that's appreciated, it's very rewarding. It drives you forward, it makes you want to go the extra mile again. So it is a kind of a positive circle. But giving people a sort of understanding of why we do these things and how we do them, and also what it means to them. You know, when you talk to people about why we use the material, why we design something in a certain way, and that it's because it's safer and it's better and that kind of thing. And once they start to understand, they're like, oh my God, you know, you're taking care of my safety, you're thinking about my needs. And as I said, so I think a lot of people appreciate that. Let's get inside, dude. Holy moly. So this is one of our other sister companies, which is called Kryon Motorcycles, or Kryon Racing, should I say. And if you come on in, so this is the beast. This is literally custom built. So from the carbon body to the exhaust system, to the chassis, to the engine itself, to the fuel tank. Yeah, literally the only purchase parts are the tires, the chain, and things like the brakes and the suspension. Every single other part of it is literally custom built here. And the heart of it is a rotary engine. So it's a rotary motorcycle. So it's a twin rotor 700cc engine. And that produces just over 200 brake horsepower in the back wheel. It's a 132 kilo bike with 200 brake going through the back tyre. So the biggest problem is how to keep the front tyre down and trying to keep it going. But when you hear one of these things fire up, rotary engines have a really specific noise. It's delightful. If you're a petrol head, it will definitely get you going. It's sort of, it's from years and years of Brian's experience, combined with all the technology that we've put into developing rotary engines next door. So yeah, the performance of this engine is far above anything that ever came before it. And that's why it delivers so much power and is so smooth and so linear. It's, you know, literally, it's a rocket ship.
Any hopes of bringing any new rotary tech to
paramotors? Unfortunately, it's just, it doesn't suit the paramotor market because it's a bit expensive. And also, whilst its power to weight ratio is really, really good, it's still quite heavy in comparison to, for example, a lightweight two-stroke motor. And actually, I think, you know, the simplicity of paramotoring is really good. So, you know, we see advancements in technology with the new EFI, and it's wonderful that they're doing that and they're kind of pushing the two-stroke technology. But there's still a simplicity there. You know, it's an engine. It's got a carburation system. It's manageable. Whereas rotary, for example, it's another level up in some ways, but also it's another cost barrier. And I think, you know, one of the great things we love about paramotoring is that it's affordable and it's accessible. So
and it's simplistic. I don't want to work on that.
No. Well, no, that's it. And I think, yeah, Gilo's dream is that one day, you know, there will be another rotary paramotor, but maybe when it becomes a kind of more commonplace thing and the costs are kind of, you know, lower. But I think that's probably a ways off.
Well, what a way to end it with a bang. Just get a little profile shot of this thing. Tom, thank you so much.
No worries, guys. Yeah.
All right, back in the States, thank you so much to Tom from Parajet for leading me around. They got some remarkable equipment. The Parajet Maverick is my personal motor right now. This is Rosie the Ripper. If you know, you know. She's been treating me very well with the Verazzi Atom 80. But whether you're going the Parajet route or our frame, the Limitless paramotor, we have them available right here at AviatorPPG.com. Make sure you check out the store. We've got a ton of service equipment, parts, and merch. If you want to check us out, visit AviatorPPG.com. Once again, I'm Reese Dockhand. This has been a very special episode of the Aviator Show. Thanks to all the homies out there in the UK. We miss you dearly. Hopefully we get to spend some time with you soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.